What is good, everybody? So we got rubber on this one. You can charge it up, and the more you charge it, the more distance it covers and the more damage it does. It's a very good travel fruit. I think it's the best travel fruit, but only on land. Or if you can find a place where you can like grab onto and launch yourself, because as the name implies, slingshot. So it does. That is the third ability you unlock. Aside from that, there's no other type of travel on this fruit. That's the only method of travel, so it really sucks if you have to cross the sea or the water or whatever. The good thing is it comes with its own basic attack right off the bat. So there's actually an extra ability hidden, which is the basic attack, which some classes possess, and you can constantly hit with this. The first ability you unlock though is the cannon at level 25. So first you gotta use basics until you get 25, and then you unlock cannon. Cannon just pushes them really back, and the distance is a little bit, you have to be pretty close to the enemy to do it. So it's good if you want to push back enemies. There is the second ability, it's a smash. All it does is that it basically lifts your leg up all the way up, you stretch it, and then you slam down on the ground and it knocks up enemies. You have to do it very close though, way closer than the cannon ability. Next up we have the third skill, the fourth skill. It's the rush. Honestly, I think the skill should be unlocked a lot earlier or switched up, because it's honestly kind of worthless. The fourth skill is good if you want to keep doing damage and you want to get a bunch of enemies together and then you activate the skill. The more you hold it, the more damage it'll do, because it'll last longer. But that's about it for the fourth skill. You can combo a lot of things. The slingshot attaches to enemies too, so if you manage to hit an enemy, it'll just grab onto them and it'll push them back, knocking them back. The final ability you unlock, which took me forever to unlock, is a transformation. I thought it was going to be super epic, but you basically just get your hands turning like a purplish pink color and you get like a white aura. The only thing this transformation does is that it enhances the speed of casting your abilities, and it switches up one ability. The smash ability is the only ability that really changes animation, because instead of stomping on the ground, you actually teleport to a certain destination in the air and you throw something down as if you were like punching the ground or something. Every other ability still works the same. The third skill probably goes a slight bit farther, that's about it, but every other skill gets a damage enhancement, that's about it. You do extra damage with every other skill. It's not by much, but it can make a big difference, since every ability is casted a lot quicker. See, like that's a basic attack, you can cast it quicker and it goes a farther distance. Some abilities get better distance, but the only one that really changes is the second skill, although in reality you're still hitting the same spot, you're just doing it from the sky instead of the ground. So it's not a bad fruit, I say earlier, if you want to like play around on land a lot. But when it comes down to travel, if you want a travel fruit, this isn't really too great unless you can use a slingshot well enough, angle it good enough to where you can like go across the map, because I'd say it's the fastest fruit. If we're talking about just covering a short distance super quick, then the slingshot is basically like a teleportation, honestly. And it's pretty fun seeing how far you go, but sometimes you can like overdo it and then you end up flying way too far. So that's it for the rubber class. It's not bad. It's a pretty fun fruit, to be honest. It's decent. Alright, next up we got the spring fruit. First skill is pretty dog shit. It's just a knockback. That's all it does. Second skill is basically a launch forward that knocks him back even further. Third skill is just an ability that lets you basically jump in the air and then go back down and just do a little AoE around yourself. You can combo them pretty decently. It's not really a fruit I recommend. It's more of a goofy fruit. You just use it to mess around. The fourth ability you unlock is a spring leaf. Basically, you just keep jumping. It's basically a method of transportation. It doesn't do any damage, sadly. But if you're in a really small enclosure and you just want to mess around and make a lot of noise and like that, you know, the more you jump off of things, the more power you'll like have behind your spring leap thing. So basically, it acts just like a spring. And that's about it. And the final ability is just the same thing as a spring leap. It's just like an AoE thing that hits them around a certain area. So wherever you're aiming, it'll teleport you forward and attack the enemy from different angles. Next up, we got the bomb fruit. I had to record this again because my other recording messed up. I did a good ass recording on this fruit, and then it wasn't even recording from the proper fucking output or input, whatever. Input. So first skill, basically, as I recapped, it's just a bomb. It covers a pretty good distance. You can aim it wherever you want. The more you charge it, the more damage it does. So it's a good little AoE ability that you can safely use from a distance. Second ability you unlock is called the explosive jump. This ability launches you up in the air, and that's all it does, on top of doing AoE damage around yourself. So it's good to combo with the first skill as well, because when you use the first skill, you know, some abilities in the game, when you use them, you stay still in one spot. So even if you're in the air, you'll be stuck like right there. Boom, I was in the air. And you could charge it, so you could technically stay in the air forever. And the third ability you unlock is called bomb grab, which is that one. The downside about that ability, although it is unique, you know, it's special compared to other fruits, because not many other fruits, if any, do that same type of tactic. The cool thing about this fruit is that it launches them really far, so you want to get an enemy away from you, you can use it. But it only focuses one target, so even if there's other enemies right behind that one enemy, even though it does a bomb animation where you like explode like a Cyberman from Dragon Ball Z, it's still only going to focus one target and do damage to one target, and that's it. The fourth ability you unlock is landmines. This is one of the most unique abilities in the game. The only one that makes this one really different from the rest of them. So you can charge it as a super fat AoE. It's best to charge it, and it's just basically a booby trap. So you just make the enemies follow you around, and then you walk around these bombs. They're not going to trigger on yourself. Luckily, it's not like that. That means they can walk on top of them and they'll take damage. And you can charge this. These last long enough that you can actually charge it twice, not just once. Before the first time you did it, the circles end up despawning and disappearing, because they don't last forever. So you can charge them twice and then activate a boss, attack them. You can also activate it early, but then it's going to be like that, where it's going to be small little circles and it's not going to do as much damage. So it's best to charge that ability and then combo with your other abilities. The final ability is self-destruct. You unlock this at 125. It's just a fat AoE around yourself. The more you charge it, just like the other abilities, the more damage it'll end up doing and the more area it'll cover. But if you're an early player, it's going to be pretty hard to hit 125. Took me a little bit because I'm already at a pretty high level. So the good thing about this game is that even if you're like grinding fruits, once you're like level 1000 or above, it's going to be a lot easier to farm fruits, because the mastery is going to be a lot faster. But yeah, the more you charge it, the more damage it does. Once you see it's like that, where it's like becomes a little spark inside of you, that means you already fully charged it. And it covers a good area, has a pretty cool animation to it and everything. And that's the final ability you unlock. So yeah, overall, it's a pretty decent fruit, not bad. Definitely recommend it if you have something like spring instead, because, you know, it's a lot better. It's a pretty good grind fruit, and you can play it safe with this fruit too. This right here, I don't even want to cover it, to be honest. This is the Falcon fruit. This is, I'd say, yeah, it's basically the worst fruit in the game. I shit you not. It is literally the worst fruit in the game. The fact that when I first ate this fruit, I thought, oh, I got 2 abilities right off the bat. No. I don't know why, but they made it that one ability is literally just for you to activate the wings. That's all it does. And I kept confusing it with an actual ability, the other ability that would actually do some damage. This fruit is absolutely worthless. You can't even really fly. You fly, and guess what? It's the final ability you unlock, I think. No, it's the second ability you unlock. So guess what? You're going to have just one ability to work with. You have to master it to 20 on top of that. So the only way for you to gain mastery in this game is if you get the final blow on the enemy with the ability, the one ability that does damage on your kit. And that's when you'll level up your mastery. So you have to do that, and the moment you unlock your second ability, it's going to be the fly ability. It couldn't be the fly ability and just automatically the moment you eat the fruit, you always have the wings on. No. It couldn't just be like that, where you unlock the fly ability right off the bat, and then you have the first skill on top of that to do damage. No. You unlock the fly ability as the third ability. It's technically the third ability. It's 2 1 abilities. And then once you grind enough to hit level 80, so that means you're only going to have 1 damage ability the whole time. And you have to kill the enemy with this ability, by the way. And me, only having Blox fruit skilled up at that point, I have to depend solely on this to do good damage. And this ability doesn't even do that much damage, so I have to depend on that. And then the other ability you unlock is called Bone Crusher, which literally just grabs one person, just like the bomb fruit, and it does damage to them. I don't believe it did AoE damage, but maybe it did if the enemies are super close to that one enemy you grabbed. But I really doubt it. I think it just grabs one target. I'm pretty sure, as far as I remember, it was only one target, and that's it. So the first ability you have right off the bat is the only one that's an actual AoE, and it doesn't even do good damage. It's shit damage, I gotta be honest. It is horrible damage. The Bone Crusher does horrible damage too. It's nothing crazy. And then you have just one final ability, which is the Soaring Talon. You unlock that at level 120. I'm going to tell you right now, this may be, I think, a rare. I don't even think it's a rare fruit. I think it's like an uncommon or something. It's definitely not like the worst quality fruit for some reason. It should be, though. But this fruit, even if you get it, don't level this up. You're just going to waste your time. It's going to be boring. Unless you have fun using this, which I guess for the, I don't know, the fly or the look of it, then be my guest. But I don't recommend this fruit at all whatsoever. It is not good. The final ability was some kind of dash thing too, so it's like, not really worth it. Real quick, I just wanted to point out that sadly this game has a lot of people that AFK farm. Who knows, maybe even the developers might be in on it, I don't know. But it's just players like these that they literally teleport to the quest line and they'll teleport to the monsters they need to kill of the quest. And they're just players that are just straight up annoying and they cheat their way to the top. So this person here just straight up got the system software. I don't know from where it was, a site or something they downloaded, and it just basically lets them AFK farm instead of doing it themselves. And all they do is just steal the farm of players. And then if you're in their area of farming, they'll attack you too if your PvP is enabled. So on top of killing you, if they're a higher level, of course, and all that, which they probably would be since they're, they're fucking cheating their way in the system. They just flow on top of the enemies. That's what you'll typically see them do. Or they'll be clipping through the walls and all that shit. They'll be instantly teleporting too. They won't even cast abilities. They'll just be like doing basic attacks or whatever. And they'll just be automatically farming. So they'll go from completing the quest where the system detects that it's completed it, and then she'll go back to farming to wherever it is that the closest NPC of that quest is to clear it. Because right now she's on top of some NPCs down there. She gathered them all together. Apparently lets him do that too, to where she can automatically gather all the enemies up together, or he, it's probably a dude, and then just straight up farm AFK, just chilling. So on top of stealing the farm from normal players that are actually working their butts off to try to get somewhere in the game, you got people like this that are just straight up AFK farming. I showed a clip of this in the first video too, but there's plenty of them. Every now and then you'll see them, and sadly players like this just get away with it and automatically get to the top without properly like grinding their way up there. As you just saw, if you just teleported to the other NPCs over there on the other side. And that's just about it. I wanted to throw that out there real quick. Bummer. Alright, next up we got Barrier. This fruit is just as useless as the Falcon, to be honest, but you know, it's obviously a little bit better. The first skill is, this is a good support fruit, I guess, if you're playing with your teammates and you're trying to do something specific. First skill you unlock is Barrier Wall. It does do damage. I don't believe you can charge it. It's still the same result regardless. So it just summons a wall. Depending on how you're looking, it'll angle it in a certain way. So you can also climb on top of it, which is pretty cool. Or you can block a path or a door or something if you put it just right. As for the second attack you unlock, second ability you unlock is Stairs. This is literally just something that lets you go up infinitely. So it will be using your energy constantly, so you will eventually run out. As long as your energy is up, then you'll constantly be doing it infinitely. But I don't even know if that's actually a possibility. But it just lets you summon Stairs, yeah. So it's a worthless skill. So you have to go all the way up to level 45 to unlock the third ability. So first skill does damage. Just Stairs don't do any damage, obviously. It's a worthless skill, to be honest. A waste of a slot. It's pretty cool, but like that should just be a free ability that comes with the fruit in itself. Third ability is called Surprise Attack, but I'm showing Barrier Prison in this one. Barrier Prison is the fourth skill you unlock, which just shoots a ball. While you're shooting it, it makes you invisible, so you don't take any damage. And it lets you, I believe on PC you might be able to control it, but basically it focuses one target and you hit them and boom, bing, bang. You're able to like move them around and like hit other enemies with it, and while you're controlling those enemies in that ball, you don't take any damage. I don't know why in this clip I have not done the surprise attack yet. Maybe it doesn't work. That might be it. That might be the reason why I'm not casting it, because it's odd I wouldn't be like doing it. Because these clips are a little bit old. Ah, here we go. Surprise attack. Oh, yeah. So it just like, you just go up to a certain spot and you slam down. Like if it was wrestling. And it does AoE damage around you. So pretty basic thing. It's a little bit hard to grind. Especially early game is super hard to grind. Barrier Towers is literally just like the Barrier Wall, except it's just like a pillar thing where it just shoots forward. And it also blocks the path like a wall. But there's little gaps in between, so if you're fighting a player, then they can still just go through those lines. But yeah, that's what the final skill does. It just summons those big towers. I think you can charge it too though, and they go farther or they get taller. One of them. But yeah, it does decent damage. Overall, not bad. I guess a good little cool skin to flex on your friends or whatever. It's decent. Nothing crazy though. I wouldn't recommend it personally. Next up, we got the ice fruit. I actually got this pretty late into the game, but it's a pretty good fruit, not gonna lie. It gives you that invincibility aura thing. Had a name for it, I already forgot. And it gives you a weapon right off the bat so you can melee attack with it. And the first ability, as you just saw, Ice Spears, just shoots out projectiles, multiple, but it doesn't do that much damage. Ice Surge is the second ability you just saw. It just basically shoots like a big wave of like ice spikes forward that knocks back the enemies. And then the Ice Bird is just like a little AoE that shoots forward. It's a projectile that freezes the first enemy it hits. I think it does an AoE, but I'm not sure. That's the final skill there. Glacial Epoch, I think it's pronounced, I don't know. It's an AoE around you, and it freezes the enemies as well. And the cool little thing about this fruit is that you can walk on water, and you'll never have to worry about like falling down or whatever. The downside is though, if you're not fast and you don't have like that late game speed items and all that junk, then it's kind of shitty, to be honest, because when you use it, it's gonna be pretty hard to travel. It doesn't have any sort of travel travel ability with it. You can't like teleport somewhere, or you can't like, there's better alternatives for traveling. Like, this is only cool if you really want to like fight on the water or something. It's a decent combat fruit, nothing crazy. There's better options obviously though, but as for a grind fruit early game, it's definitely pretty solid. Next up, we got the light fruit. Yeah, this is considered one of the best grind fruits, and I kind of agree. There's only one ability that's basically fucking worthless, and it's the Barrage of Light. So yeah, first skill is just a light ray, just a laser that shoots straight to where you're aiming. It's perfect accuracy, and it covers a pretty long distance. There's an awakening to this fruit, but I'm not going to cover that in this video. I'm going to make a separate video on all the awakenings. Yeah, that's the first skill, light ray. Second seed I'm in at that point. This fruit has the best travel ability there is, because it's based off your HP. It could be the worst and it could be the best fruit, but as long as you're just grinding and you keep your distance and you're always full health, you can basically, that's like fast traveling kind of right there. You go super fast. It's the best flying ability in the game. Teleportation is different, it's just covering your distance. But yeah, second ability, third ability you unlock. The second is the flight. Third ability is that Barrage of Light. That doesn't do that much damage. You can hold it so it can do more damage, and you can like keep using it for a little bit longer, but it doesn't really do damage. It doesn't really make it worth it. And the cooldowns are put in a way in which it's best off you just combo all your other abilities instead and use your basic attacks, which also comes with like you also come with a spear, so you can do melee attacks. And I think it gives you an aura where you don't take damage, but I never experienced that in that world, that second seed. That's where I unlocked it, and it was probably because the enemies were just too high of a level. But it might have an aura where you don't take any damage as well. The penultimate ability you unlock, which is the fourth ability, is a reflection kick. It looks pretty cool, has a pretty high cooldown though. It just basically locks into an enemy in front of you, whichever is the closest, and it teleports you in the air and shoots down like a beam or something, and you basically do pretty good damage too. So you can do pretty good combinations with this fruit. Obviously, I'm pretty sure it's people's favorite because it's pretty good grind fruit. It's pretty safe to use, and that's about it. Yeah, it's got that flight, super fast. The final ability, as you just saw, Skybeam Barrage. That just lets you aim to a specific area, and I don't think you can charge it. I don't think it does anything if you charge it. But it shoots an AoE around that area you targeted. So overall, not a bad fruit. It has an awakening too, but I'll cover that in another video. And I think that's about it.